Hi, Matt.
How are you?
James Hobson.
Oh, nice to meet you.
I'm not actually a journalist. I'm an engineer, and I run a YouTube channel called
cool.
The Hacksmith.
Oh,
And
very cool.
what we
Yeah, I
do-
saw that on the list. I was like, what's the Hacksmith?
So what we do is that we actually try and take movie technology, that's usually CGI, and
Right.
try and make real working prototypes.
Right.
And we do this to inspire youth into engineering and
Oh,
science
wow,
fields.
that sounds great.
So, for example, we've done lots of Batman gadgets,
Right.
Captain America's shield,
Right.
and even try and fly like Iron Man.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Anyways, first off, big fan of your movies.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
Cloverfield.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I'm really excited to see what you do with the Batman.
Oh, cool.
And,
Oh, cool. Thank
and
you.
obviously, if you need some Bat gadgets, let me know.
All right, cool.
But I had a few questions. So you directed both Dawn and War.
Yes.
I was just kind of curious how that came about. Did you see Rise and then you wanted to do the next one, or did the studio come
Well,
to
it's
you?
interesting that they did come to me, but I did see Rise, and I've been a fan of Planet of the Apes since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed. I wanted to be an ape as a child. Like, Planet of the Apes was sort of my Star Wars before Star Wars, and there was that amazing John Chambers makeup in all of those films. And my grandest fantasy as a kid was if I could have had, because the masks, the mouths don't move or whatever, but what the Planet of the Apes had the different appliances, and so you could actually articulate your mouth. And I was like, if I could have a moving mouth, that would be the greatest thing ever. And when I saw Rise, I realized for the first time in watching the movie, hey, I finally feel like I'm an ape, but in a way that was totally unexpected, which was, it was the strongest emotional identification that I'd ever had with a CG character. I was like, wow, why am I feeling that emotion from that character? And so I was really, really excited about what they'd done. And then they came to me and they said, hey, would you be interested in doing it? And that's basically how it started.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
So I was actually in New Zealand earlier this week at
Oh,
Weta.
really? Oh, you were? Oh, yeah,
So
they're
I got
so
to try
great.
on the motion cap suits and everything
Oh,
and
you
see
did?
some of the technology
Oh,
behind
cool.
it.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing how
It is,
far
isn't
it's
it?
come.
Yeah.
And
And I think people don't understand that there's a lot of, like, even now, like, the guys are telling me, like Steve and Andy over there, and they're going, every now and then they go, oh, so you voiced the character as if it's an animated film. And technically there is animation, but what they don't understand that performance capture is about capturing a performance.
Yep.
So when you're seeing Caesar, when you're seeing Bad Ape and Maurice, you're seeing these amazing photoreal CG puppets as animated by actors. And you're seeing that. And then the Weta, what they do is then they have to translate the emotion of the actors onto these faces, which are an entirely different anatomy. So there's a lot of artistry that goes on. There's the actors who bear their souls, and then there are the animators who are very creative in figuring out, like, if you got really angry, let's say, and what we'd do is we'd put one screen, we'd put your face. On the other screen, we'd have the animation, which would be, let's say, your Caesar. And I'd say, oh, look, he's angry, but he's also kind of silly. What's going on there? How do I get both of those things? And they might have the anger, so then say, oh yeah, it's because his brow, he's making this funny face. And so that part, they have to figure out how to make it express itself, because your brow wouldn't be the same as Caesar's. And so it's an amazing kind of thing that people don't quite understand. They just think, oh, well, either the actors do the performance and a button is pushed, or the actors just give the voice and the animators animate. It's actually both. There's artistry on both sides that's kind of amazing. Yeah.
I saw some of that. They showed a demonstration of
Yeah.
how they did the face mapping, and
It's
absolutely
amazing, right?
incredible.
Yeah, they have all those dots, and yeah, it's incredible.
So with that in mind, obviously producing a film like this compared to a traditional live action, the review process must be quite a bit different, because you're going to have to go through the stages of the film before all the
yeah.
effects are done. So
Oh,
can you
yeah.
kind of illuminate on how that affected the directing process?
Oh, I mean, well, here's the thing. When I first got involved, because I've always considered myself sort of an actor's director. Like, I love creating an environment where actors can play off of each other. And as a director, what you kind of do often is you hope you are presiding over happy accidents. It's those moments when something unexpected happens that also, usually the most emotional thing or the most funny thing happens. And I worried that in CG movies often you have to do such planning and you have so many things that are storyboarded that it would take all spontaneity out of it. And what I discovered is that performance capture, the fun of it is that it's all about capturing what the actors are doing. So it all starts with that. I come in, I've thought about how I would shoot the scene, but instead of starting that, I start the way I shot. Even when I was doing like an independent movie, I would always say to the actors, well, where does it feel like you are in the room? And we start with that. And so Andy's like, well, I'd like to be here. And we start finding our way through that, and then we make little adjustments. And sometimes they'll discover something and it'll change the whole scene, and I can do it because performance capture just captures performance. Then you edit that together, and after you've got that, the weird thing is there's a version of this movie that is not apes. It's Andy Serkis and Steve Zahn and everybody in their dots, and it's not Planet of the Apes, it's Planet of the Lycra Dudes, and it works. That version of the movie, you're responding emotionally because the performances are there. They act so
wow.
beautifully, right? So you're
Yeah.
watching that, and it's actually very moving. You see, I mean, Andy Serkis is crazy. I mean, you watch his performance; he's so emotional. It's so incredible, and so you're engaging in that, and then you know that movie works. Then you start turning the shots over to Weta, and then Weta starts blocking the shots. And then what happens is each week we do a review, and they put up their animation, and I'll put next to it the shot of Andy, and I'll just try and figure out what is in the animation that is Andy and what is not quite yet there. And then we go through that. It takes a year. So we've been in post for over a year. And finally, at the end, you have all those shots. And what's really weird is in any other movie, you'd have all the shots of your actors the moment you shoot the movie. Here, I get all the shots of my actors, which are the apes, right at the end. So then we go through and, to some degree, we recut the movie at the last minute. You've been working on it for a year, and you're like going, oh, wait, now I've got Caesar. And when you've got Caesar and you've got Maurice and you've got Bad Ape, suddenly you're like going, oh, this shot should be a little shorter, oh, a little longer. And you do all of this crazy editing at the last minute. It's unlike any process I've ever been through.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Thank you very much.